All right, so with the book of Ecclesiastes, I think we need to begin at the ending, right? The very end of the book, it says, the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole of humanity. Now, some passages, some Bible translations, like the ESV, which is the one I read the most, it says this is the whole duty of humanity. Now, every translation is an interpretation. That doesn't mean that, I mean, translations are great. We have wonderful translations in English, but it's just good to know that every translation is an interpretation. And in the case of Ecclesiastes, that little phrase, duty, whole duty, the part duty is not in the Bible. It's not in the Hebrew Bible. It just says this is the whole of humanity. And so the author of Ecclesiastes there is saying, look, this is what it means to be human. Okay? After all that's been said, after all that we've gone through in this entire 12 chapters of circling around and trying to figure life out, this is what it means to be human at the end of the day, to fear God and keep his commandments. Now, this ending of the book is what scholars call the hermeneutical lens for reading the book of Ecclesiastes. Now, what I mean by hermeneutical lens, or what scholars mean by hermeneutical lens, is the glasses that you put on to read the book. Okay, another way to say it is to talk about the key that unlocks the book, or something like that. Hermeneutics is just a big fancy word for interpreting the Bible. Okay, so this is the key to interpreting the book of Ecclesiastes. Is the author is saying the entirety of humanity, what it means to be human, is to fear God and keep his commandments. Now, in New Testament language, Jesus talks about abiding in him, obeying his commandments. Loving him means abiding in him, right? And so when the author of Ecclesiastes says, look, everything that's been said, this is what it means to be a human, to live in right relationship with God, to fear him and to keep his commandments. And so as we work through the book of Ecclesiastes, I want you to take your fear God or abiding in Christ glasses and put those on, and every passage that you read it in light of the book's conclusion that what it means to be human is to live in right relationship with God. And that's going to help us make sense of some of the passages that are a little more difficult, right? So a key principle in interpreting the Bible is you let the whole interpret the parts, and you let the parts interpret the whole. Okay? So in the case of Ecclesiastes, the whole is this idea that what it means to be a human being is to live in right relationship with God, to abide in him, to fear him and keep his commandments. That's the language that the author is using to say, this is what this book is about, okay? So when we read these more difficult passages, or passages that maybe are a little more difficult to make sense of, or when we read the passages like, enjoy the gifts God has given us, enjoy food, enjoy your spouse, enjoy work, we need to read that through the lens or the framework or the interpretive guide of what it means to be human is to live in right relationship with God. Okay? So that's going to help us unpack the entirety of the book. And so as you read Ecclesiastes, remember, this is what it means to be human, to fear God and to keep his commandments, to live in right relationship with him, to abide in him. And as you read the passages in the book, as you work through the book of Ecclesiastes, think about what you're reading. Think about how what you're reading is best interpreted through the lens of fearing God and keeping his commandments.